Okay, I'll call this meeting of Nelsonville City Council to order for Monday, September 22nd, 25. And pledge allegiance. Please stand. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Flowers, would you give the opening prayer, please?
I'd love to. Heavenly Father, dear Lord, we come to you this evening to help guide us through our city's problems, through our city's things that were going on in the city, but help us, guide us. Let us be forgiving, let us be loving, let us be thankful to the Lord that we're here. I pray this in the name of Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Before we start, Miss Harmony is not here this evening, so Mr. Taylor and Miss Joseph Saul will handle the duties of the clerk. With that, if we could do a roll call, please.
Sure. Mr. Peck, here. Mr. Clement,
Here.
Mr. Taylor, here. Ms. Joseph Saul,
Here.
Mr. Lawson, Mr. Flowers, here.
At this time, I'll make a motion to excuse Mr. Lawson.
Second. Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, yes. Ms. Joseph Saul,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers,
Yes.
Okay, we did receive a letter from Mr.
Yes.
oh, Mr. Peck, sorry.
Sorry.
Now I started with you on that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
We did receive a letter from Mr. Henderson. He is stepping down from council and resigning. So I'll make a motion to accept his resignation.
Second. Mr. Taylor, yes. Ms. Joseph Saul,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers,
Yes.
Mr. Peck,
Yes.
Mr. Clement.
Yes. So at this time, I'll announce that we'll take letters of interest for that vacant seat till October 6th. Anyone interested can send the letters to the council clerk.
Probably should.
Okay, we also received a letter from Miss Harmony that she will be stepping down as council clerk effective, I believe it was at the end of November 30th. So motion to accept her resignation.
Second.
Ms. Joseph Saul,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers,
Yes.
Mr. Peck,
Yes.
Mr. Clement,
Yes,
Mr. Taylor, yes.
I would like to thank her for all of her years of service. She's gone above and beyond, and I believe she stepped away once and came back when asked to. So thank you, Susan. All right. Minutes from the last meeting for September 8th. Did everyone receive those? Any corrections or additions?
I just emailed a couple clerical small things to Ms. Harmony
Okay,
for her review.
all right. A motion to accept those minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
So moved. Second. Mr. Flowers,
Yes.
Mr. Peck,
Yes.
Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, yes. Ms. Joseph Saul.
Yes.
Mr. President, too, I would like, you brought it up at the last meeting. I'd like to make a motion to excuse you from the August 11th meeting. We actually went back and reviewed the YouTube and everything. We never even, there was never a motion to excuse you from that meeting. I'd like to make that motion clarifying in the minutes that that's from the August 11th, 2025 meeting that we actually just, I ran that meeting, we skipped it. So I apologize for that. So I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Peck,
Yes.
Mr. Clement,
I'll abstain.
Mr. Taylor, yes. Ms. Joseph Saul.
Yes.
Okay. Auditor Treasurer's report.
Good evening, council, friends and neighbors. I don't think that I've met many of you. My name is Nick Smith. I wanted to express my gratitude to council and to the city manager for entrusting me with this position. I didn't really get to share much when I was appointed, but there's this phrase that came to mind when I initially consulted with people about potentially putting my name forward for this role. And the phrase, you may have heard it, is that trust is gathered in teaspoons and lost in buckets. When I first moved into town was around the time when the city auditor's office lost a few buckets of trust when some funds were stolen. And what I observed over my years living here is Taylor showing up every day for work and people in that office showing up and kind of putting their heads down and just teaspoon by teaspoon trying to build up trust again. And so in my capacity in this role, as long as I'm here, that's what I'm going to do too. So I thank you for the opportunity. And in the service of that, I'm going to present the auditor's report. So in August 2025, the city's revenues outpaced expenses. I also want to note this report, as well as any other numbers I mentioned, will be available online. They aren't as of this moment. I'm coordinating with the person that runs our website. So if you'd like those sooner, you can reach out to me and I'd be happy to supply those. Anyway, as I was saying, the city's revenues outpaced expenses. Revenues for August 2025 were $577,299.63. Expenses were $562,291.41. Major fund balances at the all combined level, we sit at $6,649,452.21. That is a healthy level. And in this report, you'll see the breakdown of key funds. General funds sits just shy of $1 million at $988,350.38. Combined streets at $420,000. Capital fund at $267,000. The water fund $1,538,000, and sewer fund just shy of $1 million. All of these, except for the general fund, are reaching the thresholds that we call healthy. General fund is just shy of that. As I mentioned, there's several other reports that kind of inform this report: expense, revenue, and cash statements. Those are and will be available online, but I'm happy to supply those. Council received those as an email earlier today. Credit card report. We only had a handful of credit card transactions in August. I guess I don't know how typical this is relative to other months. We'll find out. But a lot of these are pretty self-evident. We had a job posting on Indeed. We had some fire department helmet lettering from Precision Arch Shields. Kroger and Walmart are pool supplies. We use a company called PackTech for dumpster liners at the sewer. The pool got some new AED pads. McCrae, our new treasurer, and myself will be attending a fiscal officer training event next week. And so that's that C-vent charge that you'll see. And then Stericycle is the shred day services that the auditor's office held a couple weeks back. Final items. So like I said, McCrae and I will be attending a training next week. I guess I can't speak for McCrae, but I've undergone a number of trainings, ethics trainings, document retention trainings. This will be a proper fiscal officer training. So we're getting a lot of learning under our belt. Additionally, in our office, we're hard at work addressing a bank reconciliation backlog dating back to June when the treasurer resigned. A lot of work piled up. And so we've been putting our heads down and really getting at it, getting these months reconciled. We're now in the de minimis threshold for June, and July is almost there as well. My goal is to get us fully back on track in time for the September reconciliation that we'll report in October, and I feel that we're well on track to do so. And then the last kind of big project, aside from the day-to-day things that we have going on in that office, is that I've begun the initial stages of 2026 budget planning. I've engaged all the department heads to solicit initial feedback, and I've also collaborated with the finance committee just to get a clear pathway towards how we're going to approach that this year. Again, happy to share with anyone in the public who's interested how we're approaching that. Questions?
Does anyone have any questions? Yes, go ahead.
I have one. So as you know, because you participated in the discussion at the last finance committee meeting, we will be soon considering a substantial appropriation to address a salary line item and shortfall for the police department, where there was and I don't want to say an error, but with perhaps a miscalculation of the change in salary and benefits reflected in the collective bargaining agreement. Looking at the general fund balance, it doesn't seem like it reflects that. So,
Well,
I mean, I know that it's the total unencumbered funds, so this wouldn't be an encumbrance or an appropriation as of yet. But I just wanted to check in about that since it's such a big ticket item.
And so the question is,
So I just wanted to
well,
kind of
I'll
break
fill
the
in a few
seal on the
blanks and then
discussion
maybe.
where that's going to be quite a different number next month or in a
Yeah,
couple
oh, sure,
weeks.
yes, yeah, so just to fill in the blanks, there's about $103,000 shortfall that we're projecting on the police salary line. And so, in order to address that, we need to appropriate funds. So that will be, reflected whenever that occurs, yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Of course. Where would that funds be appropriated from?
The unappropriated balance, so that's
General fund.
the general fund, yes, thank you, yeah.
Also, I asked you about the attorney fees that we've been paying.
Yes.
And you were gracious by telling me that you would provide those for me.
Mhm.
But I believe you also indicated that some of that money was coming from the water and sewer.
That's my understanding, yes.
That's your
That
understanding.
that there's been 4 different payment batches to this company, and I haven't looked closely, so I don't want to speak too far out of turn. But
I tried to give you a
yeah.
heads up on it
Sure.
because I wanted you to be prepared
Yeah.
for that follow-up.
Yeah, 5 minutes, heads up, but yes, you did. That's what I'm telling you.
Well-
My understanding so far is that, yes, we are paying for those out of 100, 700, and 750 funds, and I'll get you the specifics.
And you will find out whether that's the funds that can be taken out of.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, yeah. I was never told that they weren't, so it's news to me if that's the case, that those
I
are
was
not,
told
that's not a
that,
permissible
I was
use of those
told that
funds.
they were.
Okay, oh yeah, we'll get to the bottom of that, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Any other questions for the auditor? Okay, motion to approve the auditor's report.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second. Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, yes, Ms. Joseph Saul,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers.
Yes.
Mr. Peck. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. So at this time, I'd like to amend the agenda to move the department updates to this point of the agenda. Chief Barber requested that. So I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to do so.
Second.
Mr. Taylor, yes. Ms. Joseph Saul,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers,
Yes.
Mr. Peck,
Yes.
Mr. Clement.
Yes. Chief Clifford, the floor is yours.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
I'll be listening. All right, thank you for amending the agenda. We actually weren't sure we were gonna make it back. We had multiple car accidents on the bypass, and just for Facebook land and for people on YouTube, there wasn't an apparatus that was struck on the bypass, a fire truck. It was not ours, it was York Township. Nobody was hurt, and I believe the truck is still going to remain in service, but it is damaged. This is why we blocked the roadways off and we're working, and this is why we shut the highway down.
Was anybody hurt in the accident?
We had multiple injuries and multiple accidents, but with the apparatus, it wasn't. All right, since the last update, again, we still partner with Red Cross for smoke alarm installed in the city of Nelsonville. Again, this is a Red Cross program. It requires us to fill out the appropriate paperwork, send that paperwork into Red Cross. It's a grant program that they run. So we do have to fill out the paperwork and install the detectors. We can't just drop them off to people. Grants I have in process right now. The grants that are awarded are the RCIF grant and the PEP grant. I'm still awaiting appropriation of those funds into the expense lines for the fire department. I have one grant that I'm in the process of working on now, which is a Marks grant. It'll be another grant for pages. Again, there's no match from the city. If there's grants that I apply for that require matches from the city, those are the ones that I bring to the city manager, make sure he knows what we're doing, what the progress is. Joint training, in addition again to daily shift training, we also host many training events and require log training on every shift by every member. Last week we had, well, the 3rd through the 8th, we hosted fire and EMS program with children from Tri-County. We hosted vehicle education classes here. Myself and Steve Green, one of my firefighters, is also the program director for Tri-County, and has taught those classes. And those are our high school students, our fire and EMS students that come out of high school with the proper credentials to actually be a firefighter and set for national registry testing for EMT. So
Are those the ones that were at the 911 memorial?
yes, those are the students that are there.
Great group of kids.
Crash Course Village, this is the roof rescue operations. This is a 2-weekend class that's coming up, October 25th and 26th in November. 1st and 2nd. This is a roof rescue class that's made possible through a grant through the Bailey's Trail System. So we don't have Bailey's Trail System that actually touches our coverage area, but because of the EMS coverage that we provide in the county, Bailey's Trail individuals made some money available, some funds available to our department for roof rescue training. We would be the department that's helping each way on the Bailey's Trail System. Firefighter 1 transition course. We currently have 2 firefighters that are finishing up the Fire 1 transition course. That test, I believe, was Friday. And then right after that, they will go into the Fire 2 transition course. Swiftwater Rescue Technician, I have 3 firefighters that are sending back to Fayetteville, the same Swiftwater Rescue classes that I took for some of my firefighters last year. And that'll be a week-long class that starts October 11th. I have 1 firefighter in fire safety inspector classes right now. He will be undergoing surgery for an injury soon, and then on light duty, he'll be out with me doing inspections, working an administrative schedule until he's off of light duty. Structure fires. Since the last update, we've had a handful of structure fires. On the 22nd of August, we had one 6 Butler Square, which was a new house. They had discarded a cigarette on the outside balcony. That found a void space and some of the woodwork there, and more than likely smoldered for at least a day. Had a small fire there. 5 Public Square, which was an AC unit in the basement that overheated and caught fire. That was contained to that unit. The 27th of August, we had a structure fire on Fairview Street with possible entrapment. When it turned out to our department, we were told that somebody was still trapped inside the house. After aggressively searching in hoarder conditions, which is very dangerous for the crew to do, it was determined that the individual was found by the police department later on during the call in town. Nobody was injured on that call. And just the 18th, a few days ago, we had a structure fire at 1000 East Canal, which is the apartments, with an accidental kitchen fire, which was contained in the kitchen. Civil service testing went well, as you know, but the city is required to obtain and keep an up-to-date civil service list for the departments to hire from. We had 10 set for the test. 10 packets that were actually turned back in that set for the test. And physical agility testing took place last week. I do have recommendations based off of that civil service test for appointments tonight. And I've got 2 other individuals that had to reschedule the agility course. We do a cognitive and a physical agility testing process for the fire department. Once they complete that course, if they pass, they will be added to our eligibility list as well. That's all I have for that update, and I know that the city manager has my appointment.
Okay. Any questions for Chief Barber?
I guess I think I'd like to get some clarity on the grant funds that you're awaiting appropriation for.
Yes.
I do remember the PEP grant.
I remember we had that
And
discussion.
then I think that came to council and we approved it. Okay,
So there was-
has that not
There was
been,
funds that were appropriated that never made it to the expense line for the fire department.
Okay.
That's what Nick and I are working on today.
okay, great. And then the RCIF, I know there are several season cycles throughout the years. Is it
Actually,
a new
getting ready to
cycle?
open now.
Mhm.
That was the spring of 25.
Okay, we covered that then, so you're discussing that with Mr.
Yes.
Smith
Yes,
as
that's
well.
correct.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you, Chief Barber.
This is a follow-up to Chief Barber's recommendation about smoke alarms. I know he mentioned that every time he gives a report, and sometimes we just gloss over that. I would highly recommend that if you have not taken advantage of it, that you do. I would rather have a story about how we installed smoke alarms and saved your life than all meant to get around to it, but it just never happened. Let's have a positive story rather than negative. So if you don't have smoke alarms or if they've been in your house, please give the chief a call. We know that you're taken care of. I'd like to recommend tonight the appointment of George Roback to the open position of full-time firefighter. Mr. Roback has surpasses the minimum requirement to fill the position of full-time firefighter. In addition, I would like to recommend the appointment of Eli Wade to the open position of part-time firefighter. Mr. Wade is the current firefighter and EMT with the Division of Fire and set for his state test this Friday. His appointment will be contingent on passing his state test on Friday. Mr. Wade would like a start date of September 26, 2025.
That's these 2 guys.
Mr. Rowe.
I'm George Roback.
Okay, and I assume you're Mr. Wade.
Mr.
Wade. Give me a second, gentlemen. Follow me, please. Councilman Peck.
Nice to meet you, sir. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Larry.
President.
President.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And Councilman Fox.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
All right, at this time, I'll make a motion to appoint George Roback to the open position of full-time firefighter.
I'll second that.
Okay. Ms. Joseph Saul,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers,
Yes.
Mr. Peck,
Yes.
Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, yes.
Also, I'll make a motion to accept pending approval passing Elijah Way to the open position of part-time firefighter.
Second.
Mr. Flowers,
Yes.
Mr. Peck,
Yes.
Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, yes. Ms. Joseph Saul.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge. All right, at this time also, I'm sorry, Mr. Cohen, go ahead.
Can we have him give his report?
Yes.
Yep. Mine's not real long. In the last month, we've done 15 weeks, 43 locates. We put down 6 tons of patch. We've been updating our GPS system because there's no maps in Nelsonville. It's crazy to try and find a map. The dog park's coming along. They're waiting on the fencing and it should be here within the next week. And they're also waiting on a permit for the shelter house. They're getting all the site work done, the water lines, they're tapping the water tomorrow. The water main going down Washington Street, the new 10-inch main is being tested. Been tested on Washington and passed, Adams and passed, Madison and passed, and there's that small section between Franklin and Washington on 4th Street that's getting replaced also. There was no sense of putting new lines down through there and leaving an old piece in. It'll be put in tomorrow and then put on test. Then I'll start doing all the tie overs on the services next week.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Cohen?
I got one. I talked to Mr. Holmes about this while he was on vacation, I apologize. But, the signs that the city, or not the city, but the people that's doing the Canal Street,
I called him today.
are they right?
He said they were gonna go around checking.
Oh, okay, yeah, because,
Yeah, I called him.
okay, thank you, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Cohen. So at this time, I'd like to amend the agenda to move the city manager's report to this part. I'll make a motion to do so.
I'll second. Mr. Peck? Yes. Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor? Yes. Ms. Joseph Saul?
Yes.
Mr. Flowers?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes, the floor is yours.
I have returned from vacation. And Councilman Flowers, you'll be happy to know that's my last for the year. That's just good, Mr. Flowers. We did receive a liquor license request from First Choice Property Maintenance, Adventure Pro Outdoors. The permit classes are D1, D3, and D2. They can only have one of the 3, which I believe is manufacturing, sale, and
Wholesale and resale.
wholesale and resale. I would recommend to the council that a hearing be scheduled so we can get the actual permit class clarified. So I don't know if you want to set a date for that hearing or.
Oh, it would be set by the state liquor board. Okay. Whether or not the city would be requesting them to set the date.
And the city manager would handle that.
Well, technically it would be council. I think Susan actually is the one who needs to send the paperwork in, but if council wants the hearing for that clarification, then it would be council's action to instruct Ms. Harmony to. Okay.
What are the decisions I do need the council to make? Would you want that in the county seat or want that in Columbus?
The hearing? Seems like Athens makes much more sense.
County seat, right? Yeah, I agree.
All right. I'll get together with, Ms. Harmony and we'll get that worked out. Oh, no.
You need to make a motion.
Yeah, I would think we need to make a motion.
Yeah.
But,
I have given all the council members a copy of the door that
one moment, we need to make a motion to, send that to public hearing. I'm just making some minutes, so I apologize, but.
No, you're fine.
Okay, yeah, I'll make a motion, that we send, the liquor permit from Adventure Pro to our First Choice Properties, I think it was, listed on there, to Athens for further public hearing. Is that legitimate, you think, enough, and is it specific enough, I should say?
Sure.
Okay.
Second,
Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, yes. Ms. Joseph Saul,
yes.
Mr. Flowers?
Yes.
Mr. Peck?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Owens, go ahead.
September 8th, as I went around and met with businesses in Medora, I promised them it would be filed by September 8th. I was not able to meet that, but I was gonna meet September 22nd. So you have a copy of the door in front of you. I also have copies of anybody, you've got a copy, does anybody else like a copy?
Mr. Holmes, I have an issue with this,
Okay.
and I think I verbalized it when it came up at first. But I think it's a terrible mistake to do 365 days a year unless I've missed it on here, but from noon to 11 p.m., 7 days a week. And I assume that's 365 days a year.
Well, that's one of the purposes why we're going to have it published in the paper and why we will discuss it at the next two meetings.
Okay, well,
One of the, if I may respond to you.
Sure.
Event base is not gonna work for the Opera House. That's gonna be too burdensome on them. It's not like they have concerts every Friday or Saturday.
Right.
So for the Opera House, that's not gonna work. And they're gonna be one of the major players. So, but I understand your concern and it's something that we can talk about, discuss.
Let me ask you this. What do you mean is they're not gonna have events? Can they open their bar up and at least sell alcohol?
Sure, but if it wasn't.
During an
if you wanted
event,
to-
I mean.
Yes, but if you want it to be part of the door, they're not gonna have to come, it's gonna be very inconvenient for them to come and get a permit, an event permit every time they have an event. They have so many events that it, you know, at first when I heard about that, I thought, yeah, the event base makes sense. But it doesn't when you consider the number of events that the Opera House has. And I can get details on how many they have and when.
No, I realize how many they have. And it seems like they're in preparation. They have them way far in advance to book these things coming in. So it seems to me that they could at least come over and how long would a door permit take to
Again, I appreciate your comment, but what I'm doing is submitting the application.
Yeah.
And I would like the council to refer it to a committee. I don't know which committee would be appropriate.
do what?
Planning and development.
Yeah.
And then is it okay if I go ahead and advertise in the paper?
I'll make that motion that you go ahead and advertise. It has to sit for 30 days, correct?
You cannot approve it before 30 days and no
Okay.
later than 60 days.
Yep, so I'll make the motion that, you advertise Dora, for the 30 days and we send it to committee, planning and development.
Second.
So let me just clarify my own little pea brain here. So when we do that, we're gonna send it to planning and development. And then they're gonna take a look at the time schedules and the time frames and whether we're gonna permit it or whether it's gonna be 365 days a year, noon to 11 p.m.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
And then there will also be, public hearings.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think
It has to be published for 30 days though.
Gotcha.
Before,
gotcha.
and you have up to 60 days to actually
Well,
take action.
as a former drinker, I know this could be trouble. I know this could be big trouble. Thank God I quit drinking.
I think, the experience with Athens and Logan and Lancaster, I don't think they've really had that many. They
Well,
have.
that's something we could look into, can't we?
So,
I spoke with,
we have been, I mean, this is a process that started, actually when Mr. Smith and, Mr. Booth were on council, this year. And, so this was 2 city managers ago. This has been started. So it's been looked at extensively.
Well, I got a problem with the DORA part of it. I've got a problem with the time frames. That's fine. I don't want to be redundant.
Yeah, that will definitely be addressed.
I did speak with someone today who was familiar with Marietta law, and I was asking them questions, what kind of issues that they have, and they had none that they were aware of. So far, all the experiences I have been very positive.
Have you talked to, I don't mean to belabor this, but have you talked to Chief Magruder and Chief Millinger up in the Athens chief and the Logan chief? No?
I have not, but I can make that.
I think those would be the people that maybe we would want to talk to because they would know. And I'm not saying it hasn't been just, investigated. I'm just saying, I think those 2 chiefs would know if there was a problem, and if there is, maybe we could head it off before we have it.
I would like to get a
Any
little,
other discussion?
I'm sorry. Yeah, we need to call to, the roll call on this.
Mr. Taylor, yes. Ms. Joseph Saul,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers.
Yes.
Mr. Peck,
Yes.
Mr. Clement.
Yes. Mr. Holmes?
I just want to give a little clarification on the stormwater problem that we're experiencing. And I know that Mr. Brooks made comment last time about just clearing off the tops of the grates. The problem is we don't have any grates. The areas that we're having problem with, we have no storm sewer. So in order to do that, we first have to dig a hole, put the pipe in, install the grates. That's how severe this problem is. It's not that it almost seems like we're negligent in our duty. We can't do what's being asked because the storm sewers don't exist. And that's why we need the money. And we cannot put storm sewers in with water. We cannot put it in with sewer. We cannot put it in under highway. So if we're going to do anything, we got to start someplace. But and again, we're not hiding anything. So if anybody would like to come by at 3 o'clock tomorrow, I'll be happy to take you down, give you a tour. That's possible, right? So just stop by the office at 3 o'clock.
What are those grates that run down in front of Rocky Boot? Those grates?
Yeah.
Those are storm sewer.
Right. But the areas that we're having trouble, there are no storm sewers.
Well, that would give you a problem. Wouldn't
You sure would. We can't fix something that's not there.
it? Yeah.
So that, and I would encourage you, don't just blow this off. If you really want to know about it, come by at 3 o'clock. We'll take a tour. And we can show you the problem.
Have you looked for any grants?
Yes, ma'am, I'm looking for grants now. But
One of the, oh, sorry. I thought you were.
No, go ahead.
One of the things that was discussed at the last meeting, the last council meeting, regarding grant funding is that a lot of them require matching. So the storm sewer fund is set up to build up a fund where we would be able to match grant funding.
And I ask a question then, has anybody projected how much money you're going to get from $3 a person? And how long is it gonna take you before anything can be done to fix these, where required?
Yes, so there's approximately 1,800 water customers. So $3 a month, I can't do that numbers that quick, but that would tell you per month, per year, it's gonna take a time to build up enough money for matching. It's not only addressing where areas are not have storm drains, but to rebuild the current, which are over 100 years old, collapsing in disrepair. The monies will be used in different ways to do this. And go ahead, sir.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I didn't, but I was waiting on you to take.
Go ahead.
Is it true what I was told by some citizens that should be a tax to let people vote on?
I'm just gonna give you my opinion.
Well, I mean, but I'm sorry, Chris, but is it a tax that you're going to put on the water bill to do this? And if it is, it should be placed on a ballot so they can vote for it.
Not a tax, it's a fee. It's a fee.
Same thing as Lancaster does it,
Lancaster does it, Logan does it, Athens does it,
Gloucester does it,
Brookville does it. I don't know, wait a minute, I don't think Brookville, well, you're correct.
Gloucester.
When I met with Mayor Fronteller, I
Junction
asked him, I said, you have a $3 charge on it. I said, for the last 10 years? He said, no, it's been for the last 20 plus years. City of Logan just increased their water rate 16%.
Well, how do they fix their storm
Stormwater
situation?
Okay, hold on, one person at a time, please. Go ahead.
Sorry, we're.
Has Mayor
Go ahead.
Felder, did he tell you that that accomplished what they set out, that 20 years of $3 to fix their storm sewers?
I would love to tell you it's a one and done. It's not, it's an ongoing process every year. Every year we have it, you see what they call, inflow and infiltration. Stormwater comes not going sewer, the sewer comes not going to stormwater. And I can tell you that, Jason can tell you that as we are doing projects, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott Street was one that we had to disconnect, and am I correct?
That wasn't storm sewer, that was regular sewer. Well, the sewers were dumping into one of the tunnels,
Okay,
so.
For storm sewer.
yeah. And that's, well, number one, it's illegal, all right? And so every time we find that on a project, we go and we correct it. So it's not a one and done kind of thing. It's an ongoing thing, it has to be done. And one of the reasons I'm gonna tell you this is that these storm sewers that we have are 100 years old. We didn't have a master plan 50 years ago that said, oh, we're gonna do this and that's not the way it works.
Yeah, and I have, in my yard, I have a big giant metal plate that's been there for, I don't know, over a year now. A storm tunnel that collapsed there that is in need of repair. Honestly, I'd like to get that repaired because it's starting to erode around that plate now. And, frankly, it's a little scary riding my mower around it because I don't know if it's gonna last any further. So, I think that would be good use of the fund. And, Ms. Powell will probably remember this, but the, utility chair at the time, over the years, we've done 2 different I&I studies for storm, and we've never acted upon any of that historically. So I think now is, now that we're acting upon it, I think it's only appropriate.
For anyone, oh, sorry, can I jump in?
Yep, wait, I'm done.
For anyone curious, I did do that quick calculation, and for 1,800 roughly water customers at $3 a month, for 12 months a year is a revenue stream of, to the tune of $64,800 a year.
Take you a long time to match a grant.
Right.
You gotta start somewhere.
Things can be done piecemeal, but yeah.
Go ahead.
I think where Johnny it might be getting mixed up, when I was auditor, some things came up that said you could only charge a fee if you had the matching expense. You know, is this a fee and we can say, yeah, the expense is there because it's the storm sewer? Mr. Rowe might be able to, because the Ohio Revised Code, I believe, says a fee has to match an expense. In other words, you can't gain revenue from a fee. If the expense is $400, you can only charge as a fee $400. You can't charge $450 and get the extra revenue.
So deferred maintenance is a actual cost, so.
That's what I'm thinking is that they
Yeah.
probably the
So,
auditors
so
will
just
get.
because the dollar is not being spent out now doesn't mean that the city's not incurring a cost today. There is a cost to maintain the storm sewer. It's just not necessarily paid out today.
Michael Betts from BLZ was in town a couple weeks ago, and we went and looked at 4 of our areas that are really problems, and they're not very big areas. And he got back to me, and the price they come up with was $465,000 to fix those 4 spots.
The problem areas now, not the 100-year-old ones.
Well, it's at the end of Chestnut Street where, and then there's an area on Poplar Street between Campbell and Vicky's house where it floods.
Don't flood there anymore.
And then the alley at the pool. And then Adams Street at the intersection of Adams and Washington.
Monroe and they hit too, this is probably through the corner.
Yeah, that's being worked on under something else.
What you really don't want, and, it will flood.
Well,
Okay, it's not a question of whether or not it will flood, it's a question of when it floods. And when it floods, and I've been in lots of flooded areas, what you see on the street is you see the carpet, you see the furniture, you see the toys, water destroys everything, okay? Then, what is your house worth when you go to sell it? And so, oh, well, it doesn't flood here very often, every 15, 20 years. Price, value of your house goes right down. So if we want to be responsive, we really don't have much of a choice. So, it will flood. That's why I wanted, Jason to give his report, and I wanted the fire chief, or the fire chief to give his, is because we're getting heavy rains and we're getting high winds. And, before I came, there's a hurricane, or not a hurricane, but a tornado warning, I think, over in Highland County. So, hopefully nothing will happen, but if it does, these people are available and they're on call 24 hours. So if you get a tree down across the telephone line, Jason, you'll be out tonight, right?
No doubt, they can't cut it off the line.
Yeah. Okay.
I would like to add a couple things. So there's been some comments made, and this is going to become an issue. Obviously, there's a group doing a referendum concerning this ordinance, but this idea has been floating around for quite some time to do this, to upgrade the system. It's been stated that Mr. Holmes came forward with the idea. That's not true. This idea has floated around for a few years. It went before the utility committee months ago. I actually brought it up to that committee. If Mr. Flowers remembers, you had numerous committee meetings concerning this. And in fact, on August 4th, your comment was, when you think about it, $3 is only $36 a year, so not that much. Now, I understand you changed your mind on that a little bit since
No,
then.
I also asked Mr. Holmes, if you investigated a little bit more, I asked Mr. Holmes, could we not cut that in half? At first, did you investigate and find that out?
That was your first statement in that conversation, your first statement.
I
was
believe I'm
$3.
talking to Mr. Holmes.
I know, I was giving you information.
Oh, wait.
I was there.
So anyway, this is gonna become an issue. I think it's designed to become an issue. So I just want to set the record straight that Mr. Holmes did not propose proposed this.
Who did?
It's been floated around for many years. I think it went back to,
And
actually,
he's the one. that
as,
brought
hold on,
that
I have
up.
the floor. As I recall, Mr. Taylor, I believe it was Mr. Frank that proposed it initially.
When he became city manager.
When he became city manager.
Because Reynoldsburg, actually, he lived in Reynoldsburg before he moved back to Nelsonville. And they had a very similar type fee. However, theirs was not a flat dollar amount, it was based on square footage of your roof, fee on your water bill.
So this idea has been here for a while. And so I applaud the committee for taking it up and looking at it and bringing the proposal to full council, because it's something that needs to be addressed. The longer we wait, the more it becomes an issue. But I just want to make those statements before it becomes a political issue. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Mr. Flowers, you did bring up $1.50, and I think my response to you is that you could do $1, it'll take you 3 times as long to collect it.
Yes, that was your response.
Yeah, that was my response.
But I was the chairman of that committee,
Yes, sir.
and I wanted to take it to the city council to see what the city council thought. And the comment was made to me that being the chairman of that committee, why did I send it to council? Now, did I have it wrong?
No, you did not, sir.
Okay,
We forwarded it out to council with $3. I was sitting there too. We forwarded it out to council with $3 to full council for discussion at 3. So you voted yes on $3 at committee. In full disclosure, you did.
in the committee,
Yes.
to send it to council.
Yes, which
Yeah.
is
At,
what
at
we've done.
$3.
Yeah.
At $3.
That's all
Because
I'm
we didn't
saying.
want to do $1.
That's all I'm
$1.50.
saying. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
okay,
Great. This is
Go ahead.
quick. I mentioned this at a committee meeting, nothing to do with, council or the city. Would you think our water bills are high? Would you ever think of, it would take a program to do it, but deduct $3 from the water and sewer and garbage, whatever bill we pay, deduct $3 and then put it back in as $3, and it would just be a wash from the water sewer amount to the storm sewer, which, like you say, $3 and what is it a year would be
$36.
$36. I'm just saying it might be a more positive approach to the residents if you could do that.
I'm sorry, Ms. Powell, but I also brought up at that committee meeting, we have an overreach on our, trash collection.
Right.
And I think it's $1 something,
About
Mr. Smith, you might
57 or
look
something
into
like
that, because
Yeah, I can get the exact figure.
there's supposed to be some kind of a line item that has that overage that we charge for collecting for, after talking recycling. That overage could help offset that. No, it can't.
Well, I don't know, it could be maybe, but you're not going to gain anything, because I think the last I looked, it's what, like 70,000 is in there.
Yeah,
So,
76 or something like that. Yeah.
you know, that's like maybe 1 year's.
But we can only charge $1.50, which would bring it up to $3 we were collecting.
You're talking a lot, well, all those items will have to be looked into legally, what we can and can't do. Moving money from one line item to another, that's very tricky. But when you talk about the money that's currently in the water fund, the state wants to see so much money in that fund. You have to have a healthy fund. So when you say money's sitting there, when the water line broke under the river coming from the water treatment plant into the city, that was over $500,000 to repair that. So I think it was roughly 1.5 million in that account right now. That's what's considered a healthy fund. So I just want to clarify that.
I think it's 1.7. but I understand.
We just had the auditor's report. It was 1.5. It's right there in the auditor's report.
It says 1.7.
I'll look again, but I don't think it was that much. Ms. Saul's gonna look now, so. But anyway, that's considered a healthy fund that the state would like to see, the state auditors. Okay, she has it right here.
$1,538,947.79.
There it is.
Well, what is this one on this page?
That balance in that fund is right there.
On this page, it says there's 1.7. 1.7 water fund, $1,748,035.79. And 1,600,000.
That was the beginning balance.
Yeah.
The first column is the beginning balance. What's reported on the page where he holds the funds based on whether or not they're considered healthy, is in the column.
It's the end balance plus the
unexpended.
encumbrances.
Yeah,
I was gonna say 1.7 was the end of the year balance. That was.
So,
Okay, I see it right there. Yeah, 1,538,000. Okay.
so when you talk about the balance in the sewer fund, don't forget, we have over $400,000 a year payment coming out of that for the sewer treatment plant. So again, that's considered a healthy fund balance. So you have to keep those things in mind.
And we also have future projects currently going on, next phases of water and sewer that are beginning to happen, which may be additional funds that the city may have to pay in a monthly payment and an annual payment for loans when those projects are completed. So it's, it looks great, but, there's purpose for that money.
Okay, so I believe we got a little sidetracked on all that. So, Mr. Holmes, do you have anything else?
Yes, I do. I've got
Okay.
lots of stuff here. Comprehensive plan, I've been working and gathering the committee for the comprehensive plan. I've got 16 people who have committed. I've got their names, I've got their emails. I did send out an initial response, to see if everybody received them. I made one mistake. I'm still working on about 4 or 5 additional people that I need to get tentatively, and I'm gonna be sending out a notice. You know, Stuart,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be sending out a notice, but tentatively, our first meeting is gonna be October 28th, 2025 at the Nelsonville Library at 6 o'clock. Unless people respond, and that's not a good night, but that's what we're shooting for.
Okay.
October 28th, 2025 at the Nelsonville Library, starting at 6. And then finally, well, again, the weather's bad, so what I would like to recommend to the city council that they consider revoking the repeal of issue 23 for the good of the citizens. And that's my report.
Okay, any questions, any other questions for Mr. Holmes from
I'd like to
council?
ask a question.
From council? Okay, thank you, Mr. Holmes.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to citizens' comments. Are there anyone who would like to address council?
Yes, I certainly would like to address council because, Greg, I've sat and watched Fred at the meeting recommend this $3. It might have been discussed ahead of time, but Fred stood here and recommended that charge. Now, to put a fee to a proprietary fund, the cost has to be directly related to the proprietary fund. Storm sewers are not related to the water fund or the sewer fund. You are putting a tax on the water bill, and a tax requires a vote of the people. And we have the petitions up for the referendum, and we'll get a vote on it. But still yet, when you put a tax on the people, that's not a fee. A fee is a cost that's directly related to water or sewer. And the storm sewers are not directly related to water and sewer. And I hope people vote it down, but if you would like to put I think Fred makes some good points about there needs to be some money, but you should put the tax on the ballot and let people vote for it. It's really an abomination to tax people's water bills out in Brookville for storm sewers that aren't, I mean, you say 1,800 people, I mean, the way the ordinance reads, it says to all water customers. So, I know that might not be your intentions, but if you read the ordinance, that's what it says. But we have the petitions ready, we'll be circulating them, and we need 139 signatures, so we'll get them right away. And it'll delay this until the next general election. So that will give you plenty of time if you want to put a tax on the ballot for storm sewers. Or there's another thing you could do. A lot of cities, when they do a development, they require the developer to pay a fee for storm sewers, and it's not a tax, it's a development fee that you have to pay when you develop a piece of property. And you talk about something being discussed years ago, Joe Wharton, who's been dead for a long time, come to council years ago and suggested that when somebody does a development, that they charge for that development to deal with the storm sewers of that development. Because anytime you build a roof, you got a lot more runoff on that roof. So you got options, but I don't think one of your options is putting a fee on the water bill, putting a tax on the water bill. It's not a fee, it's a tax. Storm sewers is not, in no way are storm sewers related to water and sewer. And as to Fred's last recommendation, I think that is a great way to think that the council should just say, let's do the best work we can do to institute the statutory government. Everybody put their heads together and work hard. And I'm telling you, it's going to work well. We got a good election in between Fred and Johnny, and that's what the people want. So I really want to thank Fred for making that recommendation, and I hope you carry through with it. And I'll be the first to congratulate you if you do. Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Mr. Rowe. Is it true that a storm sewer fund cannot be a proprietary fund for which a city?
Well, the way I would put it, he's not being collected for water and sewer. It's sure it's on the bill, but it's demarcated as a storm sewer surcharge. So it's going to
Similar to the garbage, trash is on there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen.
Storm sewer's not.
Yeah, there's trash on water bills also.
Okay, are there any other citizens' comments?
I don't have a comment, I have a question.
Okay, well, you got, Mr. Brooks is coming to the podium.
She was following you. You were on my thunder, you know? Well, two things. One is I do commend, I'm sure Brooks 123 Stone Street, Nelsonville, Ohio, longtime resident and a taxpayer and so on. But two things. One is, and I know City Council knows I've been here, and everybody asked Fred. Fred's working on this. But Fred, you know, I've been here quite a few times and way before you even got here in regards to our code enforcement, in regards to getting together this T&L statement, I call it, who has paid, who hasn't paid, since we put that. I think we're still working on that. And I just want to make sure, and I'll keep bringing it up until, you know, we lay out a paper and it says that we're looking for money. Seems like all I heard here is we're looking for money. So I don't think anybody here can tell how much money is out there, but, you know, we need to go ahead and go forward and get this done with our code inspector and put out all these buildings that are vacant, all these buildings, whether they're being occupied or not occupied. I'm going to sit down and talk to Fred, the code officer, and if you got any questions, I'm going to try to answer those on properties. I know they're put out. So we'll go forward with that. Hopefully we can have a P&L statement and show that we got this amount of money sitting after we haven't collected, and we can go out and collect it and start to see that probably every month. This is on book, so I want to go forward and make sure we get that done. Second thing is,
Mr. Brooks, have you stopped in and talked to the code officer as suggested?
I talked to him, I was gone last week, and then I've got a meeting with him this weekend.
This week?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I was with him at the very beginning, when he first came here, and Fred was very nice, and I spoke to him numerous times while he's been here, talking and identifying properties, he's asked me some questions.
Yeah, I see they have an initial list of the properties. It's
Yeah.
still a work in progress,
Right.
but I see that you're on this list. So
Yeah, well, how much is mine on there for?
it doesn't have the dollar amount,
Okay,
but your list,
$35?
you're listed on here
Well, it
as
could be,
having
but
properties, so
Is it
we'll,
30?
we'll look at it.
Okay, but where I can find a lot bigger ones than that if I have one renter, so.
Well, no,
And
it's not one
Mr.
renter.
Rigger, and Mr. Rigger may
actually-
not have got it even on there, so we'll know about that.
Actually, as a member of the Hunting College Board of Trustees, they're listed on here.
Oh, I know that, I know you keep bringing it up, but I've asked you for over a year and a half, your answer's always been to me,
It's administrative.
I'm working on it.
I
I
told
never
you,
got any further with you at all.
I told you that that's administrative.
No.
Thank
Okay.
you, okay.
Okay,
Move
well,
on,
thank
move
you.
on, your comment.
Yeah, okay, let me speak, please.
Go ahead.
Okay. Another comment is, I really give this gentleman a lot of credit for what he just said. We need to quit this. You haven't won one yet, and we're done. We continue to keep spending money on attorney fees here. Continue. I know you're gonna go into executive session tonight and discuss, I think, something like this, it says, but look, we need to stop. We're spending all this money, we're not winning, you're not winning. So if we're looking for money, I like Mr. Rowe, but he gets paid whether we win, lose, or draw.
I don't,
What's that?
I don't get paid,
You don't get paid any extra for filing these fees?
not for the Supreme Court case.
Okay, not for that. But the ones behind it, you did get paid?
Some of them, not all of them.
Okay.
Because I have gifted tens of thousands of dollars of my time to the city on numerous cases. This is the only one. Stuart, you have my number. You could have called me.
You could have said this in front of the people here in Nelsonville too, the taxpayers.
I'm the attorney.
I brought it up.
You could have called me,
Okay.
and I would have appreciated that. That's all that I'll say.
Okay. You could have explained to the citizens that are here on TV what you just explained to me.
I don't understand why he would have to.
Well, he's saying it to me about, he's not someone.
Well, he's saying that because,
Hasn't gotten paid.
the reason I think he's saying it, because he's probably offended when you go on.
I'm not offended. I just care about the truth.
Well, I care about the truth also. You
So-
shouldn't, I don't believe that you should go on any radio station and say things that are factually not even true. You didn't even research it yourself before you just started spewing it. It's a lot of the same thing that's going on. You also could stop filing lawsuits against the city.
I never filed one.
So I'm just saying, you're blaming us, but we're not the ones filing lawsuits.
We haven't won a lawsuit.
I believe we have a
Excuse me, you
citizen's
did.
comment going on, don't
Right.
we?
You haven't won one. Right?
It's depending on how you are defining win or lose, right?
Okay, well,
The reality about attorneys is that often they settle because it's cheaper to settle than to continue to fight.
would you,
And you've been in lawsuits, I'm confident. So
no, I know, you know what?
With Rocky's never been sued or anything
I'm
historically
not
like that?
associated with Rocky. Me personally, no, I'm no longer with Rocky Shooting. Me personally, no, never had a lawsuit.
Do you have any other comments, sir?
No, that's all I have. And like I said, we'll reach out with Fred and we'll try to get this vacant property so everybody's on the right link to who's paying. And I'd like to see that list, because I know there's a lot more heavier ones than $35.
See, the vacant property fee, is, I'm not sure where, the $35 you're referring to actually is $30 is the rental registration. The
Right,
vacant property fee is $100.
but go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, I have the floor. So, you can have it in a moment, Mr. Powers. and we'll-
Now, you just do whatever you want, man.
No, that's not
I'm just
true.
gonna sit here and listen
No,
to
you
you
have,
as
okay, you
usual.
go ahead, I'll
No, I'll
defer to
just sit here and listen.
Okay, I just
I'll
want to
just take
clarify
notes of
because
this.
there was an
That's what I'll
inaccurate
do.
statement. Inaccurate statement on the fee. The $30
This
is,
fee is different than what you're talking about. He's got a piece of property and he brought this to me. He's got a piece of property up above town that was his son's.
yeah, that's the rental registration fee.
That's
That's
not
not-
That's not his property.
I don't, again, I have
Well,
nothing
then
to do
again,
with
get
that.
your facts straight.
No, sir, I have nothing to do with that. I'm referring to the $30 fee. And that's the rental registration fee.
So what about-
What we're creating is the vacant property fee.
The house is up, the house, let's say, sitting on Canal Street, and it's sitting vacant.
Right.
Vacant for years,
Right.
15 years.
That's the vacant property
Yeah.
fee.
That fee, does get bigger and bigger each year, is that correct?
That's the one, correct. It's
Okay.
$100 initially. It has a 5-year cap. It doubles every year.
Those are the ones that
And
we
that's
should
what
be looking at,
that this is about.
and we're starting to work on, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's first, okay, so that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
This is not the first time you've heard this.
Yes, it is.
You know it
Oh,
isn't.
this paper here,
Literally, you
this
came,
paper here,
you came to have the last council meeting and the code officer directly looked at you and said, we're working on this paper. Yes, this paper right here, and invited you into his office.
I've not seen that paper.
He invited you into his office to show you what he had been working on.
I'll stop in tomorrow and look at that.
Okay. That'd be
But that's
great.
the first time I've seen it in a year and 4 months.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. And we'll make sure everybody's on the same playing field.
I hope so.
Everybody.
I hope so.
I don't mind playing as long as we all play by the same rules. That's all I got.
Thank you, sir.
I'm next.
I know you
No,
have one
no,
second.
no.
I want to clarify something
You
that
Yes,
can jump in front of that lady and been waiting right there.
I'm
Okay,
5
hold on. Go ahead.
I don't need an answer, I don't need a discussion.
Go ahead.
But what is out here in the public is every time you file something, we assume there is an attorney fee associated with filing. We don't know, nor does the public know, that Mr. Rowe has, given up some of his fees. And that's fine. I'm just saying, we don't know. It looks like thousands and thousands and thousands of
Sure.
dollars have been
So-
spent.
So if it appears that way, maybe people shouldn't state that it is that way if they're not sure that it isn't that way. Is that an accurate statement? Because if you don't know, you shouldn't be perpetuating lies.
I don't think anybody
Hold on,
has said
one person,
that.
one person.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Hello, one person speak, please. We're trying to have a meeting here.
We
So,
understand your
if-
point that you may not understand that. However, you shouldn't be going out saying things online. Generalization, I apologize. I'm not insinuating you particularly, but people shouldn't be going out on Facebook and shouldn't be going out on Viewpoint perpetuating that then if they haven't confirmed.
That is.
That's not the
That's
truth. That's what
fact.
Mr. Rowe was concerned about.
That's
He's-
fact, not reality.
Okay,
And
so
that's the question
moving
to
on,
ask.
Ms. LaRue, did you have a comment?
I do.
Thank you.
And guess what? It's one of my normal, nice ones.
I love it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I just want from the audience to also agree with the job that Susan Harmony has done. All that reading she does, we sit here and listen to her and she never looks, ooh, like I have to do that. She reads it well and so that there's meaning and understanding. And I just wanted to say from the citizens also, she has been a blessing to the city.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Any other citizens comments?
What you're talking about the school and sewer. I'm worried about if you're gonna cut the roads up again,
Well, they'll have to be cut up to get the storms there.
after all that we've done. I
Well,
think that's a little bit lacking there, being able to put things in the right place and do the first things first. Don't put all the money in these roads that you're fixing them, and then you're gonna cut them up again.
Has there been any repairs done on the road where we're talking about putting storm drains, it says Chestnut?
That's all part of the evaluation. It was stated that nothing had been done to the storm drains since the 1980s. That was stated at the last meeting. So when we identify areas, and also the sewer treatment plant, now that it's completed, the EPA said they are going to start looking at our collection system. And it was clearly stated earlier, we have storm drain emptying into sewer, sewer emptying into storm drain. We don't know where those areas are. None of us were here 100 years ago, nobody in this room. So when those areas are identified, then they will be addressed. So does that mean the road or street may be cut up? I can't answer that. I don't know. Possibly, potentially, yes. It's a lack of planning long before this council ever come about to address the issue of the storm drain system.
Well, when did you decide that you should do that?
Again, as we stated earlier, it's been discussed for years.
Well, then why did you wait?
I wasn't on council then.
So I'll reply to that, actually.
Okay, thank you.
So here's an interesting thing. So if we're talking about history then, I'm the longest standing council member here currently. That man right there was the utility chair at the time. We did 2 I&I studies, but then they never acted upon it. I was first elected to council in 2009. After the end of my 4-year term, I was so proud that we had just accomplished, and I'm not a patient person, so it took the whole 4 years from 2009 to the 2013 to actually build a water treatment plant. And I was so proud of that, and I decided, you know what, I felt good, I want to build things, I want to do things, and so I'm going to run for, another term. And I said that in my good of the order, it's in the minutes, I said how proud I was that we were able to accomplish that, and it took that long from the beginning to the end of the process. And that man right there said that, he goes, wow, he's like, you think that's good? We've been fighting over that for 25 years. That's a problem. That means you're ineffective. If you've been fighting for 25 years, but you knew you needed something and did nothing, that is, to me, you're ineffective. So we've been doing something. We've been talking about storm drains for a long time. We had a city manager that wanted to start addressing it. We didn't do anything. We didn't act upon it. We're now acting upon it. All of a sudden, it seems to be a problem. So I'm confused. What is it that we want? What do we want to actually take action and repair what's necessarily needs to be repaired, or do we just want to continue to allow it to deteriorate?
Are you finished now?
Can I give a campaign speech?
I'm nervous about your campaign speech. You've been on for 2 years. You can't read all that.
That's all I wanted to know if our roads were gonna be cut up again. I didn't need all that.
Our roads will probably be repaved again at some point.
Answered your question. Potentially, probably, yes.
That's that.
It is, but that's not our fault. No, it's not. Okay, go ahead.
And I have a question.
Sure.
First, I'll just say thank you to Mr. Rose, because he did give some of his time, although we didn't want all that to happen, because we didn't want to have to listen to the court say, they ruled in our favor. But I do want to know how much money we did pay. Maybe it wasn't him, maybe it was another attorney. How much did it cost to go to court all these times? This is the 6th time. Don't tell me you went to court and didn't have an attorney. Or did they all do it free?
I think if I could answer that, I think Mr. Smith is going to give me some of those figures.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's
You
right.
are right. Yeah. He said he would give me those figures tomorrow or the next day. And where the money was coming from that was paid. So once I get that, I will share that with you.
That's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you going to take us to court anymore?
Who are you asking?
Anyone that knows the answer.
We don't have that answer yet.
So in other words, you haven't decided whether you're going to take us or not?
There's an action in court right now.
When was it from?
Right.
Friday? Okay.
Any other citizens comments? You have, go ahead.
Corey, you completely misrepresented what I said. That Bill Wynn, a lot of people worked on that, going back to Bill Tyson. And every time we got a plan up, either the EPA, which was the biggest thing stopping us, and it did take 25 years to get that water plant built. And it was a result of Bill Tyson working on it, Bill Wynn working on it, and then finally I was just at the end of it because I didn't get elected till I think 1997, and it was a very difficult thing to satisfy the EPA on building that plant, and I just wanted to correct that it wasn't anything that, as you represented it, and I would ask everybody to lower their tone. Well,
Since the gentleman
okay,
gave
hold
us
on, hold on.
raised his tone as his comment.
Well, yeah, I'm used to it. I'm talking about other people that are commenting here.
Sure.
I'm certainly used to it.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
Any other citizens comments? Okay, so I do want to make a statement, and citizens comments are over. Unfortunately, there have been false and inaccurate statements made publicly that I feel needed to be addressed with the truth instead of misinformation. It was claimed that our city attorney, Mr. Rowe, is being paid an outlandish amount of money to represent Nelsonville. Allow me to give the fact of our city attorney has waived his attorney fees regarding the case before the Ohio Supreme Court, which at this point is in the tens of thousands of dollars. That is for the current case. So I just want to address that. With that, we will move on to any business and organizational comments. Okay, committee discussion. Did any committees meet since the last council meeting?
Finance met,
We had a couple committee meetings.
Okay, finance.
yes, so we discussed the police department's educational incentive. There was a memorandum of understanding between the union and the city, clarifying the language of the collective bargaining agreement to I'll just say what it was changed to. So those police officers who have obtained an associate's degree receive as an incentive for having obtained education, a 2% wage increase above the current base rate. Those police officers who received a bachelor's degree receive a 4% wage increase above the current base rate. And those police officers who have obtained a master's degree receive a 6% wage increase above the current base rate. This clears up some confusion, but boils down to only really affecting one police officer who has a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, but not an associate's degree. And so we are addressing how his pay was impacted by the previous wording and the change of the wording. We had a long discussion about the police department staffing line item budget shortfall that I brought up earlier during the auditor's report. And we will have more information about that as it unfolds, as it gets closer to appropriation legislation that can come before the full council. We also checked in with The city auditor about 2026 budget preparations. We reviewed a timeline, and action items related to that effort. Everybody else on, the finance committee has already seen a, end of year reconciliation type of ordinance before. I was provided a past one, for reviews, in preparation for, possibly drafting one this year. We are still, reviewing, information on, council pay comparisons in similar communities. We agreed to bring a few appropriations before council tonight. The bulk fuel line item for the police department, they anticipated coming about $6,000 short. So we are going to hopefully correct that tonight. There are a couple other items in that appropriations ordinance. Okay, so $1,000 in fuel costs to the Nelsonville Code Office, which was discussed at a previous meeting. The adjustment of that one police officer's salary reflecting the clarification of the educational incentive.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
It's my understanding, and I was on council when this happened, but there was an ordinance that prohibited the police from taking the police cars home. Would that reflect the amount of gas that they're requesting now, the gas money?
My understanding is the fuel costs are in excess of any amount.
I don't understand what you mean.
My understanding, talking from the police department, is the fuel cost requested is in excess of any amount that might be attributable to that.
Is in excess?
Correct. Greater than. Or a larger amount.
So it would be less fuel for them to get home than the number is that they're requesting.
The
Right,
shortage in budget for fuel, is not only attributable to that.
Well, I understand that.
There have also been, significant decreases to the fuel budget over
And there's been a
the past
decrease
couple of
in
years.
gas prices also. Do we have our own gas here?
Yes, they do, yeah. So the $6,000, amount is based on how, what they still have left. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But they purchase fuel once a month, I believe, or they pay about $2,000 a month, in fuel. And they have some amount in the budget, but that's going to be exhausted before the end of the year. The $6,000 will cover it.
Carry them over. Right. And also, the associate's, bachelor's, and master's degree, we have an officer that obtained a master's degree, is that correct?
Mhm. Yes.
Now, you said he has a bachelor and a master's degree. I think those two go together as one. We're not giving them the 10% bump.
No.
Okay.
So the numbers that you see in the MOU, they reflect the officer's highest level of education.
So if they just have a bachelor's degree, they'll get a 2% bump.
If they only have a bachelor's degree, and that's their highest level of education, they receive a 4% wage increase. above
And then
the
a 2%, if 2% more on top of that, if they get a master's degree.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other discussion concerning the finance committee meeting? Okay. And I believe the park and rec committee met.
Yep, we just discussed, we went over plans for, the redo at Nelsonville Commons. We got sent 2 sets of digital plans
beforehand, council, utility, can't remember who all was out there, but, we all took a look at the, drawings, and Mr. Cox presented, two plans. But one of them was a little bit bigger and a little more costly, but it seemed like it was probably worth it in the long term instead of having to piecemeal replace things over there at the park. Trying to think if we covered anything else. No, I think we were waiting on,
Fencing.
oh yeah, we covered the fencing as well. Mr. Cox brought us, quotes for how much it would cost to get the fencing done over there at the Commons, and it turned out it was much more than any of us ever thought fencing cost. But, he had to get with Mr. Holmes for some information before we could forward anything to council. So we were, at the end of the meeting, we took no action.
Thank you, Mr. Peck. I believe that was all the committee discussion. Law Director's report, Mr. Rowe.
I guess we're just waiting, to see what the Supreme Court's going to say on the litigation relating to Ordinance 5425. I would just remind council, the law is unless and until a court strikes down an ordinance of the council, that ordinance does remain the law. So by not striking down ordinance 5425, it does remain the law of Nelsonville. I appreciate the city manager's words and proposal. I do think council should take into consideration everything in terms of figuring out the best path forward on that, but the law remains, ordinance 5425 is on the books. Interestingly enough, because of home rule, an ordinance passed by council is actually a superior obligation in Nelsonville than state statute, because home rule means if there's an ordinance that conflicts with the general statewide law, the ordinance controls in Nelsonville. So part of the reason for seeking that, going to the Supreme Court, is that is the one court that can provide a final determination on whether or not issue 23 is or is not repealed. Any other court obviously cannot provide a final answer because any other court in Ohio, it can be repealed. I would note, I do not think the court will grant reconsideration. I know they already did in this case. That's partly what makes this highly unusual. One thing to note, though, is the Board of Elections on behalf of the county also joined the motion to reconsider. If the court grants reconsideration, it's my considered view that it will be because of the county's expressed interest, where the county has now, I've been so focused on trying to solve the transitional problems with respect to Nelsonville, just what's inside of our borders. It hadn't even occurred to me what government entities outside of Nelsonville borders are thinking of the transition, and the county basically told the Supreme Court without a definitive answer on Ordinance 5425, we don't know who to deal with, for example, with emergency services. In other words, the county doesn't know whose call to pick up if there's a call for emergency services and Athens comes in first. And like I said, if the court grants reconsideration, it will be because they are persuaded by the county's argument. I don't think it will be, no disrespect to Mr. Spike, who has done some of the best legal work that I have seen recently. But I do think it will be because of the county's concerns about the transition. And that's all that I have at.
Any council questions from Mr. Rowe?
If the Supreme Court doesn't rule on this by November the 4th, does that mean that everything that's being voted on
Is subject further litigation, yes.
Further litigation.
And the county has told us they expect there to be future litigation, whether the city brings it or not. That's one reason why that's the other reason why they're also asking the Supreme Court to open it, because they anticipate getting sued.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rowe. Ordinance for second reading, ordinance 5525.
Ordinance 5525, an ordinance, oh, are you reading?
I said I could, but.
You can read, we can switch. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take your thunder.
It's fine. So we have ordinance 5525, an ordinance amending the 2025 appropriations ordinance. Whereas the 2025 appropriations need to be amended. Whereas appropriations of $11,000 to street construction fund 200-150-50013 street construction fuel is necessary. Whereas appropriations of $500 to the street construction fund 200-150-10066 street construction foul weather gear is necessary. Now therefore be it ordained by the council of the city of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio, as follows. 1. The 2025 appropriations ordinance is amended to reappropriate from previously appropriated funds to the following funds. Appropriations in the sum of $9,000.00 from the appropriated balance of line item 210-160-40010, highway operating supplies, to street construction fuel, street construction fund line item 200-150-50013, street construction fuel. Appropriations in the sum of $2,000.00 from the appropriated balance of line item 230-180-50013, street levy office supplies, to street construction fund line item 200-150-50013, street construction fuel. Appropriations in the sum of $500.00 from the appropriated balance of line item 230-180-21300, street levy education, to street construction fund line item 200-150-10066, street construction foul weather gear. The total unappropriated balance is decreased by said amount. The total appropriated balance in line item 210-160-40010, highway operating supplies, line item 230-180-50013, street levy office supplies, and line item 230-180-21300, street levy education, are decreased by the respective amounts herein. The total appropriations in each respective fund mentioned above are increased by said amount. The city auditor is hereby authorized to submit changes to the city's certificate of resources pursuant to this ordinance to the Athens County Budget Commission. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its adoption pursuant to section 4.11 of the Nelsonville City Charter, as this ordinance provides for appropriations for current expenses. Duly enacted by council on second reading on the 22nd day of September 2025.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Any citizens' comments?
I may have not heard it right, so I'm gonna ask, are you moving unappropriated balance or are you moving budget?
It's all appropriated, so it's from other funds, it's from.
Carryover money?
No, it's unspent funds in, what was it, street, it's going to street construction, it's coming from highway operating.
Yeah.
So there are
and-
funds that the services director isn't anticipating using in highway operating and moving into street construction.
I don't know if you can move unappropriated balances from one fund to another.
I think it is all appropriated.
It's all appropriate.
It's
So it's budget dollars he's moving.
Correct. From two different funds.
Any council discussion?
Three different funds.
Okay, clerk call the roll, please.
Mr. Peck? Yes. Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor? Yes. Ms. Joseph Saul?
Yes,
Mr. Flowers?
Yes.
Ordinance 5525 passes. Ordinance for second reading 5725.
ordinance 5725, an ordinance approving a professional services agreement with DLZ for professional services related to Nelsonville Water System Improvements Phase 4, and authorizing the city to enter into the professional services agreement. Whereas it is necessary for the city to enter into a professional services agreement and to engage professional services associated with the planning, design, bidding, and construction services for Nelsonville Water System Improvements Phase 4 to replace water lines along portions of Pine Grove, Grover, Oak, Elizabeth, College, Clinton, Ashton, Harper, High, Walnut, and Second Streets along Borough Boulevard. Whereas Nelsonville City Charter Section 4.0815 empowers council to provide for the, quote, provide for the employment of engineering and other professional services on a consulting basis when deemed necessary, end quote. Whereas DLZ has agreed to provide the professional services for a lump sum fee not to exceed $270,100, and the city can obtain a design loan from the EPA to cover the expense until the project can move forward to construction. Whereas the city completed a qualification-based selection process in November 2021 for as-needed engineering services that included water projects in order to satisfy the procurement requirements for projects exceeding $75,000 in total fee. Whereas on September 2nd, 2025, the Utility Committee voted to recommend to council that the city engage DLZ for the Phase 4 water project. Whereas it is in the best interest of the city for the city to engage DLZ to provide the professional services for the fee to which DLZ has agreed. Now therefore be it ordained by the council of the city of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. Council hereby approves the professional services agreement attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference as Exhibit A for the Nelsonville Water System Improvements Phase 4 project. The city manager is hereby authorized to execute the professional services agreement on behalf of the city. Accordingly, the city hereby engages DLZ for the professional services to be rendered, including planning, design, bidding, and construction services for the Nelsonville Water System Improvements Phase 4 to replace water lines along portions of Pine Grove, Grover, Oak, Elizabeth, College, Clinton, Ashton, Harper, High, Walnut, and Second Streets along with Borough Boulevard. The city shall pay DLZ up to $270,100.00 to provide the professional services. Nothing in this ordinance shall be construed as authorizing any expenditure of funds or as appropriating any expenditure of funds other than as specifically and expressly authorized or appropriated herein. City Council hereby finds that this ordinance was adopted in a meeting open to the public as required by applicable law. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect at the earliest time permitted by law. Duly enacted by council on second reading on the 22nd day of September 2025.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Citizens' comments?
I'd just like to say that Michael Betts is a great find as an engineer, and I did DLZ. And He's done great work for the city of Nelsonville since he's been on. So if you're granting him a contract, it's his past record is indicated that he should have a professional service contract.
Council discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, yes. Ms. Joseph Saul,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers.
Yes.
Mr. Peck.
Yes.
Ordinance 5725 passes. Ordinance 5825.
Ordinance 5825, an ordinance approving a professional services agreement with DLZ for professional services related to Nelsonville Phase 1 storm sewer improvements and authorizing the city to enter into the professional services agreement. Whereas it is necessary for the city to enter into a professional services agreement and to engage professional services associated with the planning, design, bidding, and construction services for Nelsonville Phase 1 storm sewer improvements to upgrade the storm sewers along portions of Poplar, Chestnut, and Washington streets. Whereas Nelsonville City Charter Section 4.0815 empowers council to, quote, provide for the employment of engineering and other professional services on a consulting basis when deemed necessary, end quote. Whereas DLZ has agreed to provide the professional services for a lump sum fee not to exceed $27,880. Whereas the city intends to apply for a $500,000 critical infrastructure grant and the total project cost is $527,880, and HAPCAP recommends completing the project design prior to the grant application deadline in 2026, so the project is, quote, ready to proceed, end quote. Whereas the city completed a qualification-based selection process in November 2021 for as-needed engineering services that included water projects in order to satisfy the procurement requirements for projects exceeding $75,000 in total fee. Whereas on September 2nd, 2025, the Utility Committee voted to recommend to Council that the city engage DLZ for the Phase 1 storm sewer project. Whereas it is in the best interests of the city for the city to engage DLZ to provide the professional services for the fee to which DLZ has agreed. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. Council hereby approves the professional services agreement attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference as Exhibit A for the Nelsonville Phase 1 Storm Sewer Improvements Project. The city manager is hereby authorized to execute the professional services agreement on behalf of the city. Accordingly, the city hereby engages DLZ for the professional services to be rendered, including planning, design, bidding, and construction services for Nelsonville Phase 1 storm sewer improvements to upgrade the storm sewers along portions of Poplar, Chestnut, and Washington streets. The city shall pay DLZ up to $27,880.00 to provide the professional services. Nothing in this ordinance shall be construed as authorizing any expenditure of funds or as appropriating any expenditure of funds other than as specifically and expressly authorized or appropriated herein. The City Council hereby finds that this ordinance was adopted in a meeting open to the public as required by applicable law. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect at the earliest time permitted by law, duly enacted by council on second reading on the 22nd day of September, 2025.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Citizens' comments?
Has the finance committee decided where the $28,000 is going to come from?
Was this discussed while I was out of town in August?
Yes, we did discuss this. I think we talked about using, it was when you were out of town, when it was brought to us, I believe. I think we had decided that we were gonna take it from, I think we were talking about capital improvement for that money,
Okay.
so. I'm sorry, I was focusing on my notes here, so,
Thank you for that.
I have to think about it, just to recall. I'm sure I have my notes on it, but.
Okay, any council discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Taylor, yes. Ms. Joseph Saul,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers.
Yes.
Mr. Peck,
Yes.
Mr. Clement.
Yes. Ordinance 5825 passes. Ordinance 5925, first reading, if someone would like to introduce it.
So introduced.
Ordinance 5525, an ordinance approving a memorandum of understanding clarifying certain language in the collective bargaining agreement between the city of Nelsonville and the Fraternal Order of Police, Ohio Labor Council Incorporated, for covered members of the Nelsonville Police Department and declaring an emergency. Whereas the city of Nelsonville has previously entered into a collective bargaining agreement for covered members of the Nelsonville Police Department for the period January 1st, 2024 through December 31, 2026. Whereas certain language in the collective bargaining agreement needs to be clarified. Whereas the certain language applies to the pay increases to be paid to covered members of the Nelsonville Police Department based on advanced educational degrees earned. Whereas it is in the best interest of the city to provide sufficient pay increases to police officers who obtain advanced educational degrees. Whereas the city desires to enter into a memorandum of understanding to clarify the certain language in the collective bargaining agreement. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. City Council hereby approves the memorandum of understanding, or MOU, attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated herein by reference, which clarifies certain language in the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Nelsonville and the Fraternal Order of Police, Ohio Labor Council Incorporated, for covered members of the Nelsonville Police Department. The city manager and the police chief are hereby authorized to sign the MOU on behalf of the city. The MOU shall expire with the expiration of the current collective bargaining agreement. Council hereby finds and determines that all formal actions taken relative to the adoption of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of the Nelsonville City Council, and that all deliberations of council and of its committees, if any, which resulted in formal action, were taken in meetings open to the public in full compliance with applicable legal requirements. 5 members of council voting to dispense with the 2 readings of this ordinance. The rules are hereby suspended for this ordinance, and this ordinance is hereby enacted on the first reading pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 731.15 and Nelsonville City Charter Sections 4.09 through 4.11. This ordinance is hereby passed as an emergency measure pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 731.30, Article 4, Sections 4.09 through 4.11 of the Nelsonville City Charter as an emergency in the operation of the city government, as the city needs to ensure clarity of provisions of the collective bargaining agreement for the police department regarding pay increases due to advanced educational attainment, so that the city can continue to provide police services and is necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, morals, or welfare of the city, and this ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption. Duly enacted by council on first reading on the 22nd day of September 2025.
Okay, motion to suspend the rules.
So moved. Second.
Council discussion on suspension. Call the roll on suspension.
Ms. Joseph Saul,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers,
Yes.
Mr. Peck,
Yes.
Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor. Yes.
Okay. Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Any citizens' comments?
I would just like to, you say
I
your,
second the motion.
I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
you already know. I'd like to see the contract language you say that you're clarifying. And by passing on an emergency, you don't give the public time to check the contract language to see if it's really a clarification or if it's a contract change. And if it's a clarification, if that was agreed to back when we passed the contract and passed the ordinance, I'm fine with it. But if you're just modifying the contract, I'm not fine with that. I think that causes a whole lot of problems with contract negotiations in the future. And that if that's not in the current contract, then it should be negotiated at the next contract.
If I understand correctly, this was the intention of the original wording of the contract. However, with the way that it was worded, it was being interpreted as each level of degree obtained equated to a 2% wage increase above the current base rate. So they ran into a problem where a police officer with an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree was receiving the same incentive as a police officer with a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, which is not what the intention was, as far as I understand.
I would still say it would be better for the public if you could produce the contract language and everybody could read it and see that it actually was a modification, not being passed on an emergency. And I don't see what the emergency is in a pay issue. That's kind of the thing. I don't think it's an emergency on the pay issue. I think you could, if you really wanted to, you could backdate the pay on the modification, but pass it as emergency. I think that's a good thing.
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Rowe.
Was this, because it was not at any of the recent committees, was this discussed at our finance committee?
It was in detail.
I mean, whether or not to consider it an emergency, it depends on council's finding. Council does have considerable discretion to make a finding as whether there is an emergency. I will say until, I mean, from where I sit, it doesn't matter whether it's an emergency or not, although if this goes to second reading, the following ordinance will need to be tabled because it appropriates the additional pay that this ordinance 5925 would authorize, one of the amendment appropriations, and because that appropriations amendment is, well, two things. Number one, it's prepared for my instructions to be for 2 readings, so it won't go into effect until 30 days after the second reading. In other words, strike that, because dealing with appropriation, it goes into effect immediately. So after the second reading on the 13th, it will be in full force and effect. But if it's not lined up with ordinance 5925, then there's no basis. I mean, council could always make the appropriation, I suppose, but it would be out of sync with the underlying ordinance 5925. So you can change ordinance. I guess what I'm saying is if you can certainly change ordinance 5925 to be on 2 readings, but it won't go into effect until 30 days after October 13th for the second reading, in which case it will be out of sync with 6025. So if you're going to do that, my recommendation would be to table ordinance 6025.
What if we,
or at least amend it to strike that salary line item from the, and just do it later.
if ordinance 5925 is to go to a second reading, what if we, approve it on second reading under, emergency suspension of the,
Well, it would be suspension of the rules, but
you're
it
right.
would, you could have the finding of the emergency to have it go into effect immediately. But if the concern is there's not a valid emergency, it doesn't matter whether it's today or tomorrow, there's no emergency.
If I could interject, there's only 5 of us here.
there are only 5 of us here, yeah.
It takes 5 to
Correct.
That's the problem.
Well, we haven't done the vote yet.
I didn't
Are
say,
you-
I didn't say anything, I just said that's the problem.
Right, but
Would-
what Mr. Flowers is suggesting is if any one person votes
Oh,
no,
okay,
then
that's
it
fine.
won't be, it
Oh,
won't
okay,
be.
it would go to second reading regardless.
Right.
Can I ask
Not
where
allowed
you're sitting on this particular ordinance at the moment?
I believe that you discussed earlier a deficit in the police department with the funds. So I think something has to be done. This goes back retroactively too, back to January, right? This goes backwards.
The officer affected was hired in the middle of 2024.
August 2024,
So
August
the
of 2024.
that's right.
Can we know who the officer is so we can congratulate him?
Officer Klein,
Well, there's two Kleins, so you need to be specific about the spelling.
CLINE, I believe, unless they're both spelled that way.
I think it's CL, yeah.
One CL, one K.
Not to put him on the spot, but I believe the officer on duty right now is Officer Klein.
Not that.
It's not me.
Apologize.
You gotta go, Mr.
Um,
Holmes.
Yes, Mr. Holmes.
We need to, separate the two issues. Okay, the deficit in the police department goes back to labor negotiations that did not include our attorney
Or our auditor.
or our auditor, and, that has put us in a bond.
Well,
They-
that's,
Let me finish. That is a totally separate issue from what we're talking about. What we're talking about is vague language in the contract. It said it'd be 2% for an associate, it would be 2% for a master's, and 2% for an associate, 2% for bachelor, and 2% for a master's. The problem is that this man didn't get an associate first. He got a bachelor's. We all know you can't have a bachelor's without automatically having an associate. So it gave the appearance that all we had to pay was 4%. And I do not believe that was the intention of the contract. This has already resulted in a grievance being filed. So you can put it off if you want, but I would really strongly recommend that this is one issue. The issue of being short and funding is a totally separate issue.
well, I might be mistaken, but I don't think you automatically get 2 degrees to get a bachelor's degree, do you?
Did you mean to say that in order to pursue a master's degree, you must obtain a bachelor's degree?
You don't have to get an associate degree first and then get a bachelor's degree and then get a master's degree.
Yeah.
The way it was set up was 2%, 2%, 2%. But because he did not have an independent associate degree, we were only paying 4%. So I don't think that was the intention of what was in the contract. It was poorly written. It's not, to reassure you if I can, it's not to get them something extra or something special. It was poorly worded. And it resulted in a.
Did you, sorry,
I'll finish.
oh, okay. I was gonna ask if you, had a copy of the memorandum of understanding to review, or if I could, read it, as the exhibit to this ordinance.
The memorandum?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's right here.
yeah, can I,
It's just, I mean, we actually have a motion.
oh,
This is, I'm just thinking about, procedural.
Correct.
are we in,
But you can give them a
Council
copy.
discussion.
I don't think- We are in council discussion.
can I,
Sure,
as a
okay.
matter
I
of
guess you can
discussion,
read it.
read?
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
Okay, you have.
This memorandum of understanding MOU is entered into between the city of Nelsonville, in friends employer, close friends, and the FOP Ohio Labor Council, in parentheses, union, full-time bargaining unit members for the purposes of modifying Article 24, Section 4, wages selection in the collective bargaining agreement, or CBA, between them, covering the term January 1, 2024 to December 31, 2026, in SERB case number 24-MED-05-0654 and 2024 MED-05-0661. Whereas the collective bargaining agreement currently provides for wages, and whereas educational bonuses for employees are provided, and whereas the parties have agreed to modify the collective bargaining agreement as follows, the parties agree that the contract referenced above is incorporated into this MOU as a fully rewritten, that all articles and sections of the contract not specifically modified and amended by this MOU, as stated here and below, shall continue in full force and effect until the expiration of the agreement and until a successor agreement has been executed by the parties. This MOU shall be in full force and effect through the balance of the CBA term and until it becomes part of the successor CBA. That Article 24, Section 4 of the CBA referenced above shall be amended to read as follows. Article 24, wages, Section 4. Sworn personnel with the Nelsonville Police Department shall be paid a percentage increase in addition to their current base rate of pay according to the highest level of degree attained as follows. Associate's degree, 2% wage increase above current base rate. Bachelor's degree, 4% wage increase above current base rate. Master's degree, 6% wage increase above the current base rate. And again, we are talking about a sum of $1,565.38 if addressed at this time.
Well, but, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you know, if you think about how that 2 was written, if they're adding those up, it does match what we just said in this ordinance. 2%,
Which is the
then
reason.
to add 2 to that 2 is 4, and add 2 to that 4 is 6.
Which is the reason to have the clarification that the.
But we're right, so this is a clarification only.
Correct,
That's
so.
correct, yeah.
Oh, that was left out, I think, or I missed it somewhere along the line. I apologize.
That-
That's
That's
what
a-
was my response to Mr. Smith's question.
That's a fair point by Mr. Carson, and I think it's a good thing that he brought up. It occurred to me as you were reading the MOU. So the whole reason this came up was, well, Mr. Flowers, I think, really well articulated the current language. The problem was or I don't know if it's a problem, issue, whatever you want to say, is that the former auditor was reading the other language as being overly restrictive, which makes sense for an auditor to read language restrictively because you don't want to spend out money that you're not crystal clear sure.
Or those would add up that way.
Right, and so here it's just giving the auditor clarification about what I think my assessment is this language, and I think Mr. Holmes was saying this language is just clarifying the original intent.
Okay.
But I mean, I guess the last thing I'll say is I can understand different perspectives.
But this is only clarifying what we owe anyway. It's just a clarification of how it's going to be paid.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
There's the original language in the MOU. The original contract language, is it in the MOU?
No.
Just a suggestion that if you, with the ordinance, attach a copy of the current in the contract page that covers this, attach the memorandum and then to the ordinance. So if anybody comes in next month, next year and needs to research that, everything is going to be right with that ordinance. Because it is
Right.
confusing.
The CBA is available upon request.
Well, I think I think what Ms. Powell
Correct.
suggested.
Just attach it to this, I understand.
For the,
Yeah, because the ordinance is gonna get filed over here.
The same
And
as
you
this.
need the background, especially with the auditor. If they come in, they need, they'll
Correct,
need that, they go through all that.
the same as the CBA is over there also.
Are we on council discussion or
Yes.
have we invited public comment?
I'm sorry.
We are on council discussion,
Okay.
but we have a motion, if I recall.
We did motion.
Could you repeat the motion?
The motion to adopt, I motioned, Ms. Joseph Saul second that motion,
Okay,
and then all that last 20 minutes was discussion.
so is there any other council discussion? Okay, so we have to make a motion to adopt?
No.
We already did,
that's
we're
the
at that
motion
point,
of
this is the
adoption.
motion
So it's just
to,
roll call.
right,
It's,
call.
is it customary to, after council discussion, invite, public comment?
That was before it went to council discussion.
Okay,
I mean, if anyone has something else,
I'm
please,
sorry.
please ask. Okay, not hearing any, call the roll.
Mr. Flowers,
yes.
Mr. Peck,
Yes.
Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, yes, Ms. Joseph Saul.
yes.
Ordinance 5925 passes. Ordinance 6025, if someone would like to introduce it.
So introduced.
Ordinance 6025, an ordinance amending the 2025 appropriations ordinance. Whereas the 2025 appropriations need to be amended, whereas appropriations of $1,000 to general fund 100-310-50013 fuel costs for the Nelsonville Code Office is necessary. Whereas appropriations of $6,000 to general fund 100-100-50013 fuel costs for the Nelsonville Police Department is necessary. Whereas appropriations of $1,565.38 to general fund 100-100-10010 salary and wages for educational attainment pay increases for police officers is necessary. Now therefore be it ordained by the council of the city of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. The 2025 appropriations ordinance is amended to appropriate from the unappropriated balance to the following funds. Appropriations in the sum of $1,000.00 from the unappropriated balance of the general fund to line item number 100-310-50013 fuel costs. Appropriations in the sum of $6,000.00 from the unappropriated balance of the general fund to line item number 100-100-50013 fuel costs. Appropriations in the sum of $1,565.38 from the unappropriated balance of the general fund to line item number 100-100-10010 salary and wages. The total unappropriated balance is decreased by said amount. The total appropriations in each respective fund mentioned above are increased by said amount. The city auditor is hereby authorized to submit changes to the city's certificate of resources pursuant to this ordinance to the Athens County Budget Commission. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its adoption pursuant to section 4.11 of the Nelsonville City Charter, as this ordinance provides for appropriations for current expenses. Duly enacted by council on second reading on the 13th day of October, 2025.
Moving on to resolution 2356, if someone would like to introduce it.
I'll introduce it.
Second.
Resolution 2356, a resolution instructing the city manager to advertise for bids to purchase from the city real estate at, a resolution instructing the city manager to advertise for bids to purchase from the city real estate at 126 Jefferson Street. Whereas the city owns certain real estate located at 126 Jefferson Street, in parentheses, Athens County Auditor Parcel ID number P0-301-400-005-00, close parentheses. Whereas the city is in need of selling the real estate so the real estate can be productively returned to the tax base. Whereas there is interest from potential buyers to purchase the real estate, and therefore the city manager needs authorization to advertise for bids to purchase the real estate from the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the council of the city of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio, as follows. City council hereby instructs the city manager to advertise for bids to purchase from the city the real estate located at 126 Jefferson Street, Athens County Auditor Parcel ID number P0-301-400-005-00. The city manager shall advertise as set forth in section 1 for 30 days from the effective date of this resolution. The city manager shall report any bids received from the city before council authorizes any final sale of the real estate. Council finds this resolution was adopted at a meeting open to the public as required under applicable law. This resolution shall be in full force and effect at the earliest time permitted by law. Duly adopted by council on first reading on the 22nd day of September 2025.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Citizens' comments. Council discussion.
If I could ask Mr. Holmes something?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Holmes, this property did sell back in 2021 for $9,000. What happened there?
I don't know, but I know we've had interest in a person that wants to buy it.
I have a guy that's interested also.
Okay.
Not I, but the city does, because he's trying to purchase some land in the city to build homes. So does he submit to you?
Yeah.
But, so you don't know what happened, the guy didn't pay or what?
I do not know.
Okay, all right.
I would have to check with.
No, I was just curious. I thought maybe you might have known
No,
because,
all of this has gone through the code,
okay, thank you.
which you should have.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Peck?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor? Yes. Ms. Joseph Saul?
Yes.
Mr. Flowers?
Yes.
Resolution 2356 passes. Okay. We've had the city manager's report, so we'll move on to good of the order. Mr. Taylor, if you'd like to start.
Actually, the only thing I have is, great job to Nelsonville York Buckeyes, football, Friday night. It was a nice little comeback game, right down to the wire. So congratulations to them. That was an exciting game. That's all I have.
Ms. Joseph Saul.
I would just like to express my dismay, at the situation, which seems to be that we are being scrutinized and punished, for taking on matters that our predecessors neglected to pursue. I'm gonna leave it at that. The only other thing that I would like to say, is that if something begs the question, ask. Speculation is empty. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Flowers.
Yeah, I would like to also make a comment congratulating the Nelsonville York Buckeyes. I don't follow them real closely, but I was really happy to hear that they made a comeback and won. I'd also like to clarify, as Ms. Saul says, I would like to clarify when things come out about the council made a decision and the city did something about this or that, what they're leaving out is, through all of this, I have voted with the citizens of Nelsonville and what they voted for and wanted. And so it's a little disheartening, even though I'm sitting on this council, and I'm proud to be sitting on this council, to help the city if I can. It's disheartening to find out that no one ever says that I'm voting for the citizens who, 70% of the voters voted to go back to a statutory form of government. As I stated before, if 70% of the citizens had voted they wanted the charter, Mr. Flowers would have been with them also. So I just wanted to clarify that. This whole thing has been a 6-1 vote, me being the one no. Thank you.
Mr. Peck?
I'm good.
All I have is 4. With that, I make a motion to go into executive session under ORC 121.22D for personnel and legal matters, inviting in Mr. Spiker, Mr. Rowe, Mr. Holmes. There may be possible action after, possible council discussion, possible citizens' comments. And the motion is on the floor.
I'll second.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, you're right, just, Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, yes. Ms. Joseph Saul,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers,
No.
Mr. Peck.
Yes.
I'll note the time at 9:24 PM.
We're going live right there.
Okay, motion to return from executive session at 10:58.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Peck. Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, yes. Ms. Joseph Saul,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers.
Yes.
I would like to make the motion that, to direct the law director to give a, comprehensive review of the, Supreme Court case at the next regular session council meeting.
I'll second that.
Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, yes. Ms. Joseph Saul,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers.
Yes.
Mr. Peck.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Third.
Fourth. Mr. Taylor, yes. Ms. Joseph Saul,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers.
Yes.
Mr. Peck,
Yes.
Mr. Clement.
Yes.